Well, the crypto market's been pulling back over the last couple hours as Bitcoin's price has now dipped back under $104,000 and ETH's price has now lost $3,500. Now, as a result of this pullback that we've been seeing for the last couple hours, a lot of people are wondering why Bitcoin's price just pulled back, especially after seeing such a solid recovery over the last couple days. And I wanted to make a quick update for you all going over exactly why this pullback just happened for Bitcoin and altcoin prices and exactly what I'm doing right now with my own bag of Bitcoin and my own bag of altcoins. So without further ado, look, I don't want to waste your time at all. Let's get straight into the video. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, okay? Because the reason why Bitcoin's price just pulled back is incredibly clear to me, and I want to share that with you. Now, the reason why Bitcoin's price just pulled back is because it ran into three extremely strong points of resistance at one time. It basically just got punched in the face by three zones of resistance all at once just yesterday. Let me show you what those three zones of resistance were. The very first zone of resistance that it ran into was this previous zone of support back here. You see that previous support right there? Yeah, we ran into that and we ran into it hard. I mean, we just went straight up to it. And the second that Bitcoin ran up into it, guess what happened? We immediately got rejected. So that was resistance zone number one. Now resistance zone number two was a much stronger zone of resistance than that one. And that is from this descending or this ascending level of support that we saw back here. So what we can see is if we go ahead and give this alignment right here, we had these two previous support establishments here, this support right here. And if you zoom in close, what you can see is that Bitcoin ran directly into the bottom of that line again. And so that previous zone of support that we had, which was this blue line, is now also flipped into resistance, a massive zone of resistance. And then last but not least, while running into both of those zones of resistance, Bitcoin's price ran into 75% threshold zone of resistance here on this descending parallel channel that we've been tracking for a little bit here. So if we actually go in and we do this, and we draw in this descending parallel channel, you can see where this resistance was. Kaboom, right there. You see this dotted line? This is the 75% resistance in this descending parallel channel. And naturally, that's a very strong zone of resistance as well in microstructure. So in short-term structure, mid-term structure, and long-term structure, we just ran into three very strong zones of resistance all at once, and Bitcoin just didn't have enough strength to get past them because it had to use a lot of strength to get up to them. Look at the 4-hour charts, for example. Look at the 4-hour RSI. Look at how much strength it took for Bitcoin to just rally off of 99K and push up to $107,000. So naturally, knowing how much strength it took to just get up here, it's not going to have enough strength to break through it. Are you crazy? Of course not. Bitcoin's going to need to come back down, try to find some support, recoup some momentum, and then try to make that move back up towards the top side. It's going to be very difficult for Bitcoin to make that move right here, and that's what I warned you all about yesterday. Matter of fact, just yesterday, we talked about this. I said, listen, altcoins are showing strength, but please be very careful. And my whole point in that video was, listen, yeah, the market's pumping, but things are a little bit risky right now. There's liquidations to the downside. Indicators are showing some overbought signals. We might see this market kind of pull back a little bit, which is actually what I showed concern about over in the school as well. Look at how yesterday at 12:26 p.m., I said I'm heavily considering doing another take profit right now on these purchases. And I was referring to the fact that I bought Bitcoin at 99K and ETH at 3,100 bucks. I said, I just don't like the way these liquidations below us smell right now. Maybe just being paranoid. I don't know. And then about 5 minutes later, I updated and said, yep, I'm taking profits. It's done. I did a small one on Bitcoin and ETH at 106 and 3,500 bucks. So yeah, we kind of figured that this was a possibility. That this was what was going to happen. Now, I'm not trying to say this in a way like, yeah, we knew the market was going to pull back. But again, naturally, there were a lot of liquidations below us and a massive zone of resistance above us, and we used a lot of strength to get up towards this level for Bitcoin. So the fact that it's pulling back right now is not surprising, and I don't know why people are so freaked out about it online. Now, is it a little bit concerning? Oh, absolutely. I'm not going to pretend like it's not concerning. The fact that we just flipped three major zones of resistance into more resistance and flipped two zones of support into resistance. The fact that we took this support level and flipped it into resistance and this support level and flipped it into resistance isn't a great thing. And historically speaking, when you fall below an ascending level of support like this and flip it into resistance, you could see big capitulations to the downside. So yeah, this absolutely is possible. Bitcoin may be getting prepared for that macro capitulation. I'm just not willing to say that that's what's going to happen for sure yet. All that Bitcoin is doing right now is it's coming back down to try to see if it can find some support. Can it find a foundation that it'll then use to reapproach and try to break back above that blue line? If it does that, we're in a good spot. We're fine. We're going to see Bitcoin push back above 110, 112K. But if it fails, obviously, and Bitcoin's price comes back down and starts taking out these lower lows, then that's concerning. Like if Bitcoin starts falling below that previous low from on November 5th, yeah, that's definitely concerning. And that's the point that I would start getting a little bit more concerned about the short-term and mid-term future of the crypto market. So No, now's not a time to freak out. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Ran into resistance, coming back down, trying to find the support it'll need to break above it. Let's see if Bitcoin can do that or not, and then we'll go from there. And that translates very clearly to the altcoin market. I told you all yesterday, watch this video. In this video, I said, you know what you need to do right now? Yeah, watching altcoins is cool, but go watch Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin falls, the altcoin market's going to fall. And that's exactly what's happened. As Bitcoin's prices started to fall, it's dragged the rest of the altcoin market down with it. It's the reason why we're not seeing the market performing so well today, is because Bitcoin is showing signs of fragility. It is looking a little fragile. There is risk on the table that some sort of capitulation like this could happen, and that's causing people to de-risk by pulling out of their alts. It's the reason why you have something like Ethereum's price pulling back today. It's the reason why you have Solana's price pulling back today, why you have XRP's price pulling back today. It's not that they've done anything wrong. It's just simply that Bitcoin's showing possible fragility, so they're naturally going to pull back a little bit. And so the easiest thing to look at right now, if you're worried about the market, is just Bitcoin. Watch what it does, and then that's going to tell you everything that you need to know. Okay. Now, one thing that I will say is that I'm also not super concerned about this because of what we're seeing on the liquidation map. Yesterday, things were looking sketchy. I'm not going to lie. Things were looking sketchy because liquidations were really high to the downside for Bitcoin price, ETH's price, Solana's price, whatever. And although they are still very high, and this easily could continue down to say 100,000, 99,000, or 98,000, they're still not showing a ton of reason to go much lower than that. Look at how the majority of these liquidations dry up around that $98,000 mark. So yeah, Bitcoin might come back down to this zone, but I still think it's more than possible that it can try to give us some sort of support and push back upwards. Maybe also some sort of like double bottom or something like that, right? So I am looking at this from an optimistic perspective and thinking, oh yeah, Bitcoin's in a solid spot, right? Like it's coming back down, liquidating these people that we warned about yesterday, but now it's finding some decent support, trying to build a foundation, resetting pretty well, clearing through these long liquidations. Yeah, I think Bitcoin's price easily could start to try to push back upwards. And so because of that, no, I'm not super concerned by this. This is exactly what we expected. Matter of fact, I would almost go ahead and say that this is a good thing to happen. Let the market recover, let it rally a little bit, let it rest a little bit, and see if we can find this move upwards. So if you're worried about the fact and you're wondering about the fact that why Bitcoin's price is down and why the altcoin market's down, it's because Bitcoin is naturally resetting after running into 3 very strong zones of resistance, and that's all. It's not a big deal. So what am I doing right now? Well, I'm not doing too much, okay? When it comes to Bitcoin, I am actually willing to do some reaccumulation anywhere from 99,000 to 98,000. So if for some example, or for some reason, Bitcoin's price wants to come back down to this macro structural zone of support, yeah, I'll happily do some reaccumulation there, and I'll basically just re-enter where I bought the first time. That means I'll have bought at $99,000 right here. I'll have sold it at $106,500, and I'll rebought at $99,000. That's just some free profit. I'm super happy to do that. So yeah, I'll do that for Bitcoin. And if if Bitcoin's price does come back down to this zone, I'll also use that as an opportunity to accumulate my alts as well. I'll buy a little bit of Ethereum, I'll buy a little bit of Solana, I'll buy a little bit of XRP, but I probably wouldn't really be buying them until that was to happen, until Bitcoin's price was to be back down here. Until then, I'm sitting back, I'm waiting, and I'm watching. I'm not really buying anything. The only correction, one thing I almost forgot to mention, the only thing that I am actually buying that I did scoop up a little bit of today was Constellation, token DAC. Now, you guys know that this is something that I added to my bag probably 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, so roughly. And they actually had some really big announcements over the last 24 hours. So I did buy them because I think their value actually went up. So you guys know I buy microcaps based on value, not particularly price performance. And what we actually saw was just 49 minutes ago was that they actually went live on Kraken. And that builds a ton of credibility. It brings a lot of excitement. The price did do okay, right? Like we did see a nice little rally here for the price leading up to that, which is a good thing. But I don't really care too much about the price performance. I just like the fact that they built up that credibility and authority by getting that listing on Kraken, especially following that big announcement that they had about a week and a half ago, which is where they're going to really be narrowing down their focus into verified data automation for AI. So they're really going to be contributing a lot of value to the world of AI, and they have the team for it. They have the credibility for it. I mean, they have the brand for it. So they've been doing a whole lot. And I think, as I mentioned here, with the launching of their new messaging, the navigation of the website, they're unveiling a whole new look, and they're making a lot of big moves in a time like this that easily could lead them to some sort of price performance and growth over the next coming weeks and months. And so because of that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I like what they're doing. I think the new website looks freaking cool. I think it looks really awesome. I think what they're doing, they're getting listens, they're spending money, they're running marketing, they're doing all the right things. And so because of that, I did add a little bit of Constellation to my bag this morning. But outside of that, I'm not really buying any other microcaps because none of the other microcaps I have right now are making big moves. I'm willing to buy some microcaps in a time like this. They just need to be out there in the trenches, hustling, actually making progress. That's what I'm looking for. If they do that, happy to buy. If they're not doing that, I'll just leave them alone, just like I'm leaving the majority of these other cryptos alone. And so going forward, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to watch Bitcoin like a hawk. I'm going to see, okay, does Bitcoin's price come back down and find some support and try to push upwards? If so, really cool. There's a world in which Bitcoin's price comes back down, for example, and hits the Fibonacci golden zone between 101 and $100,000. Boom, and pushes back up, creates some sort of little cup and handle pattern, uses that cup and handle pattern to break back up towards 115. Yeah, that definitely could happen. And I'll just be watching and waiting to see if that does happen. Or Bitcoin will nuke through support, nuke through support, nuke through support, and be on track to fall back towards $92,000 to $93,000. And guess what? I already told you what I'm going to do in this video. I laid out my exact plan for what I would do in that situation. So I have a plan to the upside. I have a plan to the downside. Right now, it's just a waiting game. I'll buy some Bitcoin if it gets back down into this gold box, and I'll buy altcoins at that same time as well. But until then, I'm not really doing too much. So that's why crypto's falling. That's exactly what I'm doing right now, and that's my game plan. And yeah, I don't really think I have too much more to add. So I hope you guys do have a good one. Check out the links in the description below, and I'll see you all in the next one.